just tell you that I basically cussed out my home ec teacher for being a failure at life. That's...
I can see you doing
I
that.
insulted her greatly. She made me mad. In my high school, we had this little thing where all the girls in the senior year, they got together. It was an official thing, and it was a tea party, which is kind of funny now, given what tea party means and the fact that all these bitches are actually members of the tea party now. They all got together, and you would have to wear white, and you'd have to wear a hat, and I think it was at like a golf club or something, and you'd have to bring your mom. Okay, and it was like every single thing about it was something. I'm not wearing white. God knows I'm not wearing a fancy hat. I'm not sitting around with a bunch of bitches drinking tea, and I definitely don't want my mom to come. Because that's going to be embarrassing. My mom's awesome, but...
At that age, hanging around with your mom in a fancy hat.
But they're like going to make you go. They're like, you have to go. And I said, I'm not going. I remember talking to my mom about it. My mom's like, I'm not going to that shit.
Even she was like...
She's like, what the hell? That sounds ridiculous. She said, this sounds annoying. I'm not going to this. So my home ec teacher, I guess, is the one that's really responsible for sending out the invitations and like making sure everybody's going. And she confronted me and she said, I didn't get your invitation. Your RSVP. Are you and your mother not coming to the tea party? And I said, you know what? No, actually, we're not coming to the tea party.
Free country.
Yeah, just not doing it.
The freedom that you people are trying to uphold.
She got really upset, and she's like, you really should be there. Everybody else is going to be there. You really need to bring your mom. It'll be really nice. It's a bunch of ladies, Christian women, getting together and having tea. And I'm like, that sounds awful. Like, I just straight up said, that sounds really awful. And she decided that this would be the perfect opportunity to have the conversation with me as to why I was not invested in home ec class.
Home ec class.
Home ec class.
The otherwise known as extended study hall in most places.
Oh, but it was serious business at my school because those bitches were studying to be housewives.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of them are. Like, that's what they were studying to be.
Then they have reality shows.
Yes, exactly. So... she decided she was going to have a conversation with me about why I wasn't invested in home ec class, and she says, you just really don't seem involved, when it comes to really cooking the meals and really studying, like, how to clean things. You just don't seem invested. And I said, that's because I'm not going to be a housewife when I grow up.
Oh, snap.
And she looked at me and she said, well, what's wrong with being a housewife? I've been a housewife my entire life. And now it's my mission to train girls how to be housewives. And
what weird feminist movie did she walk out of? As like the villain in a feminist film.
The villain in a feminist film, exactly. Yeah. And she was the villain in my feminist film.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's come to the final confrontation.
Yeah.
And now she's approached me and she's put out her weapon. And this is like the final battle with the final boss, right? That's how I've seen this. And I remember like putting my hands on the desk and I said, I will be a professional. I will be a business owner, and no one else will be in charge of me. I will be my own boss, and I won't be married, and I won't have kids, and I won't be a housewife! Because I'm better than that.
I live in a van down by the river.
I'm gonna do a lot of drugs.
I want to see that movie.
That's what she heard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a drug addict and a whore.
And a lesbian atheist.
A whore, atheist, lesbian, drug addict.
And I'm voting for a black guy.
Yeah, she didn't really appreciate it. She started crying, actually. I'm not
Why
lying.
did that make me laugh more than anything?
I know. I'm not lying. There were tears. And she was like, you have really offended me and hurt my feelings because there is nothing wrong with being a Christian woman because the Bible says that women should submit to men and that men should be the head of the house. And it is our job to keep the house clean. And she went on this whole 50s housewife rant with me, and I was just like, you're an idiot!
How did you get this job?
Your brain is made of mush!
Yeah.
I was so mad.
Meanwhile, I was in Boy Scouts like, look what I can do with this pocket knife. Ouch!
Dude, the kids at my school were really dumb. Alright? Like...
We've covered this issue before several times.
I know.
I think it haunts you.
It does haunt me because I see these idiots on Facebook and they have like they live on golf courses now and they have babies.
What a bad place to live. All those balls hitting their babies. Why would they live there?
It's like they have little dogs and shit that they carry in strollers and
ugh.
They take Christmas portraits and send out Christmas cards with their Christmas portraits and they do all that stuff. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, I remember when you smoked weed and then drank bleach to pass the drug test. That's what I see when I see your face on the profile, of your Facebook when I'm like scrolling through the newsfeed and I see your face. I'm like, that's that bitch that drank bleach so she could pass the drug test after she smoked weed.
My major question, did that work?
No.
I didn't think so.